This is a classic blues and R&B podcast. On the line with me is Dr. Root Music.
Yep.
I'm so used to calling him Roy Hightower, folks. So that's the reason why it's a little difficult for me, you know.
Yeah, with Dr. Root Music, that would be me.
Yeah. So how you doing? How you doing, Dr. Root?
I'm doing great. Shoot, I ain't worrying about the virus or nothing.
Oh yeah. Why you not worried about it?
Well, ain't no point in worrying. Shoot, you know, I'm a blues man.
So you always been used to viruses, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right, Dr. Root, tell us about you. I got a lot of your music here. You know, I'm in your corner. There's just a lot. I got several CDs I've gotten from you, and they're good CDs. Your music, you know. Tell me a little bit about them. I mean, you can start at your first one, or you want to go from your last one you just got through. Purpose. What's the name of it? Purpose and.
Well, I'm in your corner. That's a song I recorded back in about 1975 with Donny Hathaway on keyboards. You know.
Okay.
And so a lot of people, well, you know, my voice done changed a little bit since then, because a lot of people, you know, they say, wow, your voice sounds different today. Well, you know, that's been a while back. But, yeah, I did 2 recording sessions with Donny Hathaway. You know, I changed my name to Dr. Root Music, formerly Roy Hightower, the blues man.
Yeah, when did you do that?
I did that in 2000. That's been about 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yep. I've always wanted to change the name because Roy Hightower really doesn't reflect my ancestry. And so I decided to change it, and so I did.
And what is your ancestry?
My ancestry, my history is Africa.
Have you been there? Have you been there? You got connections there or not, or what?
Yep. I'm from the Baisa people in Burkina Faso.
Okay, yeah.
That's a country in Africa, Burkina Faso, the Bison people.
Yeah, I remember the
right.
Thomas, what's his name? Thomas Sankara. What was it? He was the president at one time. He got assassinated there, and they was putting on some film shows and stuff in Burkina Faso. It was a nice African industry there for a while, you know. But he got, and I don't know what they're doing now about the film industry there. Yeah. Good.
Mm-hmm.
So have you been there? Have you taken a trip there?
No, I haven't been there, but it is my aim to really go one day.
Okay.
I don't know exactly when that'll be, but it's on my bucket list.
Oh, well, you better empty that damn bucket, you know. Get a new bucket, because it's probably full of mess by now.
Yep. And did you ask me about my tune, I'm in your corner?
Yes, talk about it. Tell us about the CD.
Well, yeah, that's a song I wrote back in the early 70s. And as a matter of fact, I re-released it on a German label. But it's called I'm in Your Corner, and of course I got Donny Hathaway was on keyboards with me on that. And I also did in that same session, I did a tune called The Undertaker, and that's also got Donny Hathaway on keyboards.
Yeah.
Yeah. That came out about 1975.
Okay.
I was on the Mercury label, which was I was on a Blue Rock label, which is a subsidiary of Mercury.
Who else was on that music with you?
We had during that time, Archie Russell was my manager. Archie Russell and Leo Ostel. And Satterfield was on bass. And, you know, Satterfield later on was with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I had Louis on my television show before he passed, and it was a very, very interesting, very good interview. You know,
right?
He was here in Chicago for a while. Yeah. Now,
right.
How long you been in music, Ruth?
Oh my goodness, let me see. Professionally, ever since 1958, professionally started in Mobile, Alabama, and during that time, I was opening up. I was like a teenager, but I was opening up for some big name artists like Ray Charles and James Brown, Fats Domino, all of those guys at a club called Harlem Duke Social Club in Mobile, Alabama. Yeah, so that was I got my teeth cut real early.
Right. So you started out in Mobile. So when you got to Chicago, you already knew what you were doing, right?
Oh yeah, I was on my way when I hit Chicago in 1961. And my first professional gig in Chicago, I was Otis Rush guitar player. So I played with Otis Rush for about 3 years. And we played at a place called the Castle Rock over on Roosevelt Road every Friday and Saturday. And on Tuesdays, we played at Pepper's Lounge down on 43rd Street. And during that time, we had, I think Muddy Water was at Pepper's on Friday night. Harlan Wolf was there on Saturday night. I think Earl Hooker was there on Sunday. And we were there on Tuesday night with Otis Rush. I took Monty Joe Young's place when he left Otis Rush to go out on his own. We had a lot of fun during those days. Yeah. Those days you had the Rolling Stones and the Beatles coming around, Peppers, you know, trying to peep in, see what they could learn.
Trying to lap it up and then go back and act like they created something, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the history of entertainment in this world, really, because I remember how Benny Goodman and all of them, you know, they didn't know how to hit the licks like we did because we were doing it from this total human being aspect, you know, the feeling of it that you get. And they would come around and say, how in the hell they playing that note? Where in the hell that's coming from? Well, it's something that you're born with, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, so I'm in Your Corner. I re-released it about a year ago on Tramp Records out of Germany. And so we're kind of proud of that.
How is it doing for you?
It's a little early, but, you know, it's kind of slow, but, you know, we're getting a little feedback, you know. It takes a little time because everything is on the internet now, you know. I also did, I did some recording with Jimmy Reed.
You remind me of Jimmy Reed when I see you with that harmonica and that contraption you
right.
have around.
Yeah. Right, yeah. Yeah, I'm on his, the album called Let the Boss Man Speak. And, of course, Mary Lee Reed, his wife, she was on that session, and Al. And so also Al Smith. At that time, Al Smith was a Jimmy Reed's manager.
Was that with VJ Records you guys did that or what?
Yeah, that was with VJ. And so he had some tunes. They had, let me see, on that particular session, they had Fred Below on drums and had Louis Miles on guitar, had his brother Dave Miles on bass, and also we had Lefty Bates on rhythm guitar. And my bass player, the guy that played with me for about 20 years, Nick Charles, he also did some bass work. And, of course, then Jimmy Reed's son, Jimmy Reed Jr., also played bass on that Let the Boss Man Speak album.
It's speaking of Jimmy Reed, is any of his offsprings around anywhere, his children or anything like that? Are they around anywhere now?
You know, I don't know. You know, we did Jimmy Reed Life Story at the Black Ensemble Theater, and a lot of his relatives came in from California. He used to live way out south. But I don't know if any of his relatives still here or not. I imagine his son, Jim Reed Jr., is probably still here. Last time I saw him, he was here, That's been a while back.
Mm. Now, speaking of Jimmy Reed, do you think he owned his catalog, or you think VJ and whoever bought VJ and the rest of them, you think that's what happened to his music, or what? Just a thought.
I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure that Al Smith had a lot to do with his catalog, because Al was a sheriff too. That was his regular day job, but he would go out on the road with Jimmy Reed, as a road manager also. Mm-hmm. So he probably, some of that Jimmy Reed catalog, I don't know if whatever happened to Vivian and James, who owned VJ, I'm pretty sure Al some of it probably is in his estate, I guess.
Now, speaking of music, and go on, I apologize. Anytime you just shut me up, I have no problem in shutting up and letting you go right through, all right? Because you're the main chorus here.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, everything's cool, yeah. So, that's, I also did some work with Isaac Hayes. I think I mentioned that to you a long time ago.
Right, yeah, you're talking about that, yeah.
On his Lifetime album. Now, he calls it Lifetime Thing. That was the title of the album. But he did a lot of covers. I think he covered some of Curtis Mayfield's songs. He covered I think he covered a Lionel Richie song too. 3 Times a Lady. I think he put that on there. Mm. And he recorded my song Fugitive. Yeah, I know he did. I'm So Proud by Curtis Mayfield. He put that on there. Mm. Yeah.
It was another great artist. Now, when you did your work with Donna Hathaway, I know it's been a while, what studios did you use for that work?
We was at Universal Studio. Okay. I don't know if they still there. I can't actually remember that street, but that was one of the main studios that they did a lot of big name recordings there at the Universal Studio.
Yeah.
And mostly everybody was recording there, like Tyrone Davis, Ramsey Lewis, and different ones during that era.
It's amazing how Chicago had everything that California and New York had. Then the next thing you know, everything had left and went to California, man.
Yeah, because it started here. Really, Chicago was the Mecca.
Yeah.
So was definitely the Mecca, and so and the Emotions were just getting started. The Hutchison sisters, and so I did a tune called "I'm in Your Corner," and so we were using the Emotions on background, and that was a record that we also released on Blue Rock label, which did pretty good for us. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, what song have you ever had? What would be the highest? Not that it matters. You got some good work. What would be the highest ranking song that you ever had? What song would it be? Would it be blues, or what would it be, or what the name of the song?
Well, my music is kind of hard to put a label on it, but I think Root Doctor was probably my most successful record, Root Doctor, which did pretty good. And also, Buddy Ace covered Root Doctor. And, and I also released it on Ichiban label. And Ichiban is not around anymore. But, so I think that would be the most. And then maybe after that, maybe I'm in Your Corner and a couple other things I did back in the 70s, that I was on, because I was, at that time, my managers it were 3 guys, it's called Archie Lee Hill Productions, which was Archie Russell, Leo Ostel and Hilary Johnson. And it was, they was all, so I just had 3 managers. And so they've all, well, Hilary's still living. Archie and Leo Ostel, they passed away. Mm. Yeah. But Hilary also was, he became the A&R man on Atlantic Records out of New York. And he did that for a while, but I think he's retired now. Mm. That's Hilary Johnson.
He was were they out in New York, or they were here in Chicago? Or where?
Yeah, out of New York. Mm. And he was the vice president of that label for a while. He was also vice president of Playboy. You know, Playboy had a record label too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so he was involved with that for a while. But now that he's kind of retired, and so I'm still out here kicking. Mm-hmm. But everything right now is kind of shut down, so we just kind of laying in the cut, you know, taking it easy. Yep. So we were scheduled for the Blues Festival, so they canceled the Blues Fest, and I think they canceled some things that I was doing at Blues Heaven. I was going to open up the Blues Garden in, you know, the first Thursday in June, and if they still try to do it, they may try to hook it up where they could do a Zoom thing from inside, but I don't know how that's going to turn out, you know. Mm-hmm. So we'll see, because June is right around the corner.
Yeah, I saw it just today when I got up this morning. I saw it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep. So you've been working from home, huh?
Yeah, I have been doing my show on Saturday night here at WVON 1690 AM via Skype. Every Saturday night I do it, same way. It's
right.
You know, it works, and a lot of this stuff does work, and it works well. I've done Skype before. Done my show before by via Skype. It's always a way if I want to do it. You do
right.
it. Yeah, it's a good thing. And I was thinking about it. I love YouTube. I do like using YouTube.
Right.
Like now, if I had to set things up right, hell, I would have done you with YouTube, done you live on YouTube. But it doesn't take much. All it takes is just, get my camera set up, and it's pretty much set up most of the time. I got a background that I drop, and curtain, a brown curtain, and all that stuff. And I got a chroma key one I use too, but I still got to get a light or two and put over here and make that right. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, I caught your show. I listen to you from time to time, so I saw you was kicking pretty good. Yeah, you was lighting them up.
Oh, good. Yeah. That's the main thing. As long as I can light them up and people, people enjoy it, that's a good thing, man. Because that's why I do it. For guys like you, it's a new day out here the way they do things, and
right.
And unfortunately, I'm only on one day, and that's 3 hours on a Saturday night, so that's 12 hours a month. And I get a lot of records, man, a lot of music, a lot of it from the record companies, as well as people sending me MP3s and all that they want to,
Right.
Some of it is junk. Some of it is not as good as your stuff. I mean, it's just,
A
lot of it is somebody go in the studio and decide to cut something and put a doggone boom beat on it, boom, boom, that kind of stuff. And
sometimes they don't put a lot of thought into it.
Right, they don't do a lot about the production. That's the most important thing.
Of course, I kind of diddle and dab a little bit in the movie industry, and some movies such as U.S. Marshal. I did some cameo roles in that with Wesley Snipes and Tommy Lee Jones. Mm-hmm. And also I did a thing with, the Babe Ruth story with John Goodman. Mm-hmm. I did some parts in that. Did some stuff with Steve Martin, Novocaine. And so, yeah. I also did Poltergeist 3. And so I did some of the movies I did back in the 80s, but I still get some royalties come in, some foreign royalties from Portuguese, from U.S. Marshal,
Man, that's good.
Comes in handy, That's the benefit with being with Screen Actors Guild. They make sure they take care of their union members. Yeah.
That's a good thing, man. That's a good thing. That still got your income still coming to you in some form.
Right.
And that's the thing. That's the thing about this pandemic. A lot of folks, who can't do anything, but if you got something that you've already invested in years ago, it will come to you during this period.
Exactly. You got to take care of the business. It's about 90% business. This whole entertainment industry. And so, but one thing I want to say to you that really appreciate guys like you. Keeping the blues alive. Because I'm telling you, it's not easy.
And the thing of it is I was playing a song by excuse me. I was playing a song by McClinton. What the hell is his name? I just got through dealing with it. Delbert McClinton. And he got this country song, Wine, and I think I forget the name of it, but three glasses of wine left or something like that. But anyway, it was it was funny when I looked at that. I said, now he's labeled as a blues man, and he does. You probably know him. It's because I think Alligator produced him, and I think he was on Alligator there for a while, and I'm not sure if he's at there because he was on this 45th anniversary of Alligator. Let me see.
Yeah, that's Bruce Iglauer.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not sure if I know him. Is he from the West Coast or something like that?
He may be. I was just checking it out to see. Yeah, he's a two more bottles of wine that he's dabbling in all of it, he's doing that.
Right.
So nothing wrong with that. You do what you need to do. If you're an artist, you can sing whatever form. Have you ever speaking of country, have you ever thought about doing, or have you ever done any country? You're a southern boy, so I said, have you ever done any country, thought about it or whatever? I mean, you are a southern gentleman.
Right. Well, I haven't given it any serious thought. I usually have a melody come to me. I usually try to follow that. And sometimes it winds up being a little R&B-ish, or sometimes it be a little more blues, depending on the character of the song or just how I hear the melody. So, but I've never actually seriously thought about recording a country tune,
Okay.
But it's a thought, though. It's something to think about.
And I don't think anyone can do it much better than you. Probably you're out of Alabama.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, you were raised on country. I know it. You were raised just as I, because I'm from Mississippi. And as a Magnolia man, country music, gospel, and blues and rhythm and blues. That's what we were raised on. We were raised on that. So it's
right.
That's as they say, that's in our DNA.
Exactly. Especially that church music, that gospel.
Yeah.
That's some of the first thing you hear back in the 40s, 50s, And as a matter of fact, a lot of people didn't want you singing blues in their homes,
Yeah.
Get out of here with that devil music.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But
yeah.
Things have changed so much since then,
Yeah, they got it all up in there now. Yeah, that Devil McClinton is he's from Fort Worth, Texas. I think it's in Fort Worth. Yeah. Yeah, down in Fort Worth.
Right. I tell you too. We just lost a great one, Lucky Peterson.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. He passed away last week.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. In the last week or two, I saw quite a few names, posted. I said, dog, and some
Right.
of them I knew, and some of them I just, they just knocking you out left and right. I'm gonna tell you what, and now that I kind of put a mark on it. Let's say we start with Bill Withers, and look what we have lost since Bill Withers.
Right. Yeah, you're
Little
right.
Richard and all the rest of them, man. I mean, a whole bunch of local guys as well as internationally known guys,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
yeah, exactly. And Lucky he was only 55.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he wasn't like an older gentleman,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if he had medical problems or what. A lot of times though, a lot of times we be running and ripping. We don't take care of ourselves.
Not like we should. That's for sure. I've always tried to do it because I said, damn. I ain't been to the doctor lately. Since this stuff started. What you gonna do?
Right.
You can't go.
Yep. Exactly. hmm Yeah. Well, so this is great. We're doing a little interview here, so I'm enjoying myself.
You enjoyed it, huh?
A little conversation,
Yeah.
Let the people know we still kicking.
And if they say we doing our thing, let them know that, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But anytime, next time we get a chance to do a thing Saturday night, I'm gonna have to do that. I'm in your corner live.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When like you say, I mean, at that time. Now you sound, your voice always had kind of like a not hoarse, but a whole, softness to it or something.
Right.
Has it always been this way?
Well, singing so many years, your voice tends to get a little mellower. It's not quite as sharp as it was back in the early 70s and the 60s, But then, too, it depends on the type of song that I'm doing. I can usually, because that song now, I'm in your corner, is in B flat, and normally I don't sing that high. Well, in my younger days, I jump up real high, and that kind of put your voice in another range,
Yeah.
But, yeah. So that's not, because like a lot of my work that I'm doing now, I'm usually, maybe A is high as I go, but usually I'm in the key of G or E, something like that, And depending on the melody, sometimes I can do a song in C, but I'm in your corner was in B flat, major. It's not like, which is B flat major, I'm not doing it in a blues scale, I'm doing it in a major scale. So that makes me sing higher. And usually on a blues scale, it's got a flatted third, so that way I can sing mellower,
Okay.
So that's why a lot of times people can say, well, dog, that doesn't sound like you, because I'm actually singing B-flat major rather than minor.
Oh, okay.
And so, that gives your voice a different tone.
Yeah, since I got you on there and you're talking about a little theory, that's a good thing. What is the difference between a blues scale and
in a major scale?
Right. Yeah. Let me have that.
Well, the difference is that in a chord, what they call the triad, you got three notes.
Okay.
The first, the third, and the fifth. In a scale, just say for instance, if you in A, let's just say for instance, if you're in the key of C, and so your triad would be C, E, G. That's the three notes.
Mm-hmm.
C, E, G. Now that's C major. But if you flatten that E, that's the third. That's the third of the scale.
Mm-hmm.
C, E. So if you play C, E flat, G, that gives you the minor scale. And most blues are played in the minor scale.
Okay.
Some blues is played in the major scale, but when you play that major scale, they usually go to them ice cream changes, like doo-wop.
Okay.
And so when you're in the major scale, it gives you a little different sound. So if you're listening to like a Muddy Waters or Howlin' Wolf, and then when you go to something like maybe the Dales or some doo-wop, that's a different sound. That's because it just says that if in the key of C, then your changes would go from C to A minor, which is the sixth, then the fifth, and then the fourth. But if you're playing blues, you would play the first, the fourth, and the fifth. You wouldn't go to that sixth, which is the minor, and that gives it that doo-wop sound. So that's the difference. Is the difference between like maybe your doo-wop songs and your regular blues, which is a minor. In other words, if you flatten that third note, whatever key you're in, if you flatten the third, that becomes a minor. That scale, that's a minor scale, and that changes your whole sound. Mm-hmm. Rather than if instead of E flat, if you play E, that gives you a major sound. Mm-hmm. And so that's what's happening with I'm in your corner. I'm playing a major there, a major. I'm in a major scale. So that makes me sing higher.
Okay. And now this so-called rock. How would you?
Rock?
Mm-hmm.
Well, rock is kind of an offshoot of rock and roll.
Oh, yeah.
And and so the only rock and roll is nothing but
Lucille.
Yeah, most of rock and roll, it's got that kind of rhythm happening, and I mean, you could be in the same key if you're doing down, 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 down. Then now that gives you a different flavor.
Yeah.
But you can be in that same key and go down, 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 and so Jerry Lee Lewis and Elvis Presley, they jumped on that,
Yeah.
Yeah, and they tried to pretend like they created that, but that was more or less Little Richard.
Well, obviously it was Little Richard.
Right.
As I start singing Lucille.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was called. We were there at the beginning, right? So we know what it's about, right?
Exactly.
You being an Alabama boy, me being a Mississippi boy, Little Richard being a Georgia boy.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
You're so right. You got it.
Yeah, that's a good thing too, to be able to know the difference, because I mean you listen to some of these young guys, man, and they don't know the difference. They really think it started with the Rolling Stones.
Right.
Think it started with the Beatles and all that stuff. They don't understand. No, brother, that came out of your mother's kitchen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's good it's much better when you know theory, music theory.
Mm-hmm.
Because that way, because the music is the vehicle that carries your melody, and your lyrics is the cargo. So the music track itself is the vehicle, and the melody is the cargo that the vehicle carries. See? So it depends on, just say for instance, if you got, say if you want to move some musical instruments, you could probably put them in your car, and transport them that way. But if you got some furniture from your house, maybe you want to get a truck. So now you carry a heavier load, so you got to get a bigger vehicle. So same thing with a music track. If your melody is kind of small, then maybe you could just use 3 chords or 3-note chord. But if you want your melody to stretch out, then you have to get a larger vehicle, which means your chord structure should consist of at least 4 notes instead of 3. See, that's one way you can get a picture of how that goes. If your melody is real big, then you want to use a chord structure that can handle that. So instead of a 3-note chord, use a 4-note chord, or maybe a 5-note chord. Then your melody could be even wider. See, but that's what restrict most blues guys. They use a 3-note chord, so they can't vary too far. See what I mean? Yeah, but a lot of blues guys, they could stretch it pretty good. You know, they could make it sound, you know, they could kind of push the limit a little bit, or push the envelope, as they say.
Mm. Now, where did you take music at, Rhut? Where you formerly trained in music, sound like. Where did you do that at? What school?
Well, you know, my first instrument actually was alto sax. But I took little music when I was in school, high school. And what I did was, even though I didn't go that deep in it, I didn't go to Juilliard or anything like that, but I studied music theory. And that's what gave me a really leeway to kind of broaden my music in terms of what I wanted my melody, what I want my melody to do. You got to kind of understand music theory, you know, in order to do that, because it's almost like music. See, you ain't got that many notes, so it's almost like a painting. You know, like you use colors. A painting is an illusion. You can make it look like it's 3D because of the colors that you use. Music the same way. You can make it sound like you're going somewhere. You can rearrange the notes. You know, you can have the first inversion, second inversion. In other words, you could put the first note on the bottom, the third note on top. That make it sound different. So it's like an illusion, and it sounds like you're going somewhere. You know, it's just different coloring. You know, but you got to understand theory in order to be able to do that.
It's, you know, like you speak of coloring, and that I've often heard that term. You know, you playing music, and you said, you can add a little color here by doing this. You know, playing in between. You know, and all of that other stuff, right?
Exactly. See, because it's like when you look at a painting, and you look at something look like it's far away. Well, it's not far away. It's an illusion. But you use different colors. The brighter your colors, the closer the object looks to you, you know. And so that's the same thing in music. A lot of times you can play a real soft note and it'll sound like it's way in the back, you know. So you can use different colors. You can use different inversions depending on how you want your sound to go, you know. Mm. And it's very important to know that, so that way your talent could be endless. Your music can be endless. You can go on and on and on, you know.
Tell me this, how many instruments, what instruments do you play?
Well, I can play the bass, play a little bit of piano, and harmonica. My main instrument is the guitar, you know. And I try, you know, I try to play a little bass or something like that, a little piano, you know, but basically I just try to stick with the guitar and the harmonica and the vocals.
Okay.
Yeah, that way I can keep myself safe. Okay. I don't want to get out on a limb.
You mean if you pick the saxophone up, you'll be out on the limb? something like that. Yeah. Yeah, you probably can play. It's a B flat instrument. You can play it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's good, man. So
yeah.
Something else I was going to ask you, and I've forgotten what it was, but because you're interesting, you know, a very interesting guy to listen. Do you write anything other than music? Are you an artist in any other way? Do you paint or anything like that? Speaking of all that you just said.
No, in terms of doing like memoirs or something, or writing a book or something, I've never attempted that. But I enjoy writing songs. I get different ideas, and I enjoy, you know, writing my music. So I kind of basically stick with that, you know. And there's some other things I do that I'm a bowler. I'm a pretty good bowler, so I never did turn pro because it would take me too far away from my music, you know, just going out on a pro tour. Mm. But I bowled in a lot of tournaments throughout the country. So I enjoy bowling, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But they've shut down all of the bowling alleys now, so we might be out for a year or two.
Yeah. Have you written for other artists? Or do you write for other artists?
Well, not intentionally. Usually, like the song that Isaac Hayes did, and the song that Buddy Hayes covered, they just heard my song somewhere. Like Buddy Hayes heard Root Doctor out in California, and he called me and, you know, indicated that he wanted to do it, and so we collaborated on it. So he went on and recorded it. And the same thing with Isaac Hayes. We had a mutual friend named Henry Bush. Henry Bush was an A&R man down there at Stax in Memphis, and he was playing. He was playing Fugitive, and Isaac heard it and was very interested in doing it. So they called me, and we got together on it, you know. So he went on and recorded it. So those two, you know, the two artists is that. But like I say, I didn't write it specifically for them. They heard it and was interested in doing it, so they did.
Mm-hmm. How does that make you feel to have two well-known artists like that to do your music?
Yeah, that's a good feeling. You know, it lets you know that if somebody's doing your work, that's about the ultimate compliment someone can give you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is to want to do your material. You know, so it's a good feeling. You know, it lets you know that you're on the right track. Yeah.
Now, do you work with many artists? Have you ever done studio work with many artists? Like you were talking about Donny Hathaway working with you. Now, what about you? What studio sessions have you been on with somebody? Hey, I want Root Doctor over here on harmonica. I know you talked about Jimmy Reed, but I want the Root Doctor over here to do this thing with me, you know?
Right. Let's see. Far as studio work on somebody else's material, unless I was basically Jimmy Reed, and see who else. Now, I have worked with other major groups. You know, I played guitar for the Dales for about a year. I played with the Spaniels. I played with them for about a couple of years. And of course, Nappy Brown, I think Nappy Brown was out of Louisiana, I believe. But that was back in the late 50s. Mm-hmm. I traveled all through the South with him. During the time I was a teenager, but I was opening up, like I say, at Harlem Duke Social Club with people like Fats Domino and Ray Charles and James Brown. Mm-hmm. So Nappy Brown came through, and actually what was happening, I was on the show. I wasn't playing with Nappy Brown's band, or either like shows I did with B.B. and Bobby Bland and Bill Milton, all of them, Johnny Taylor. I was just on the show with my own group. So I've done a lot of work with different, you know, Benny Lattimore. Let's Straighten It Out. We played Miami Beach all from 1971 to 1975, you know, and we played at a hotel over on 163rd and Collins, which was over on Miami Beach. And this particular hotel had 6 bands, 7 nights a week. And so we had a lot of fun doing that, you know. Yeah, that was a band out of Texas called Broadway Park with 3 white guys. I mean, they would hook up, man, sound like 7 or 8 pieces. And Benny Lattimore and myself, my group. So that was 3 bands in the rec bar. Then upstairs in the inner circle by the swimming pool, they had 3 bands. So that was 6 bands every night. And that was from 1971 to 1975. So at that time, Benny Lattimore was one of the groups that I remember that was, you know, performing, you know, on the same stage with us. Yeah. I mean, we was rotating. Like, my group would come on and play an hour. Benny Lattimore band would come on and play an hour. Then Broadway Park would come on and play. Mm-hmm. And then by the time we come back and do another one, we would go on twice, and then that night would be over. And we was off on Monday nights. And the way they had it arranged, where, the bands would play every night, and we would be off on Monday nights. But they would still have live music, and other bands would be off on different nights, So that was interesting.
Yeah. Are you married? Been married? Any children? Anything?
Yep, got 5 children, but I've never been married.
Okay.
And they are all grown except one. She's just graduating this year.
Okay.
But I have a son that lives in Alabama. I have a daughter that lives in Atlanta, and my other 2 daughters live here. My 3 daughters live here in Chicago. My youngest one live with me. The other 2 are grown. But they nearby. They live in the neighborhood.
Does any of them into music?
No, one is a lab technician over at University of Chicago, and one of my other daughters works at a hospital, and my oldest daughter, she's a professor at the Atlanta University. She's over the language department, English department.
That's good.
So, yeah.
You have no boys, just girls? Huh?
Yeah, I got one son lives in Alabama, Wardell.
Oh, okay. What does he do? He's a farmer like you?
He does construction work.
Would I say he's a farmer like you?
Yeah.
That's good, man. Along with their being productive, man, that's a good thing,
Right.
What about any other members of your family, your brothers or sisters or anything?
No. I'm the only one left. I'm the only sibling left.
Okay.
Out of 12 siblings, I'm the only one left.
Yeah, God is, it's 12 and you're the only one standing, huh?
Yeah.
God bless you, man.
Right.
I come from a family of 10, and I've lost 3. I've lost 3. One I never knew, but I lost my oldest sister just this year, last month. Yeah. And my oldest brother. That's one reason why I'm in Chicago, man. Because I love them. I love my brothers and sisters. And but yeah, that's
Yeah. Yeah, we blessed so far to be still around. And as far as I know, I'm pretty healthy.
Yeah. That's right. You're a vegetarian, right? You don't eat nothing but pig, right?
Right. I'm vegan. I don't eat too much meat.
Oh, you do eat? Okay, I didn't know you ate any. No, I didn't know you ate any meat. That's why I was kidding you about the pig.
No.
You do eat
right.
meat? I didn't know you
No,
eat.
No, I'm vegan.
Yeah, I thought you was told off and on. Period. Yeah. You don't know you don't know what you're missing right now. I think it's a good time to be like you.
I've been vegan 40 years. Yeah.
I guess with the contamination, and we don't know what's going on with some of the food today, so we have to be careful about about animals. I think right now, and they may be the healthiest as ever. They may be the healthiest ever.
Right.
So you never know. But yeah, I love my pig. Now I'm not gonna let you take that away from me.
Okay.
I'm gonna go out there and catch that bird running through your yard too.
Yeah, I know. One day back here, about 4 or 5 years ago, Cookie called me. Coco Taylor's daughter.
Uh-huh.
She called me and she told me, she said, because I was doing some work with Coco when she had a restaurant out there at the Star Gambler Casino in Gary.
Okay, yeah.
So I was doing some work with her out there. So anyway, after she closed that out, Cookie called me one day, and Coco's daughter, she said, I've been sick. I've been in the hospital. I said, oh, really? She said, yeah, I had a stroke. And so I said, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I said, well, how you doing? I said, she said, well, I'm doing pretty good. It's kind of rough. And I said, the doctor got me on a diet and took me off of meat. But but you know, I got to have my chitlins once a week. I said, no, Cookie, you better leave them chitlins alone, you know. She said, I got to have my chitlins once a week.
Dog, once a week, huh?
I said, dog. I said, maybe once a month, not once a week. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's been a pleasure, Doctor. You got more to say?
Oh, it's always great.
Yeah, you know, this don't have to be the last conversation. I want to get you back on my television show as soon as everything get up and running again. Speaking of that.
Exactly. I'd be honored, you know.
Yeah. Now, you have a... Hell, in fact, I ought to let you be the host of the damn thing. Let me just produce and direct it, you know. Let me ask you this. This here, Doctor. Now, you have a band, right?
Yeah.
How many pieces do you have?
Basically, we use 4 pieces.
Okay.
Sometimes I use 5, but basically just 4 pieces.
And what would they be, and what would the 5th one be?
Well, that would be bass, drums, me on lead guitar, and keyboard. And sometimes I add a horn.
And what horn is that? Sax?
Yeah, sax. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes I use a sax. Sometimes I might use trombone. I might use crease bone. He's pretty good on trombone. As a matter of fact, he's excellent on trombone. Yes. But basically, sometimes I use sax preacher.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the guy that goes around the church and performs as a sax preacher.
Yeah, and his main tune is Purple Rain.
Okay.
So sometimes I use him, but most of the time it's just 4 of us, you know. That's bass, drums, guitar, and keyboard.
How long you been with them? Have they been with you for a while?
Yeah, we've been playing together off and on about 30, 35 years.
That's good.
So, yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the way music is put together today? That I can go on my computer and I put together everything, every instrument that I want in there, and then I come out and I say I'm just as big as you are now.
Well, you know what they're doing today. The music kind of loses personification. It doesn't have that human touch to it. It's perfect because it's done with a machine, you know. And when humans play, it's got more of a personal feeling, a warm feeling, you know. It's got that personification, you know. So that's kind of lacking today, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know. You play, I play the bass. You know, you have to get some calluses on your hand. The same thing about a drummer, the Congo player. You know, you get calluses on your hand, and that gives you a different sound. It gives you a different feeling when you first start on it, but once you get there, it gives you a different sound when you learn how to use those calluses and things. You know.
Yeah. See, music. It's okay if it's not perfect.
Right.
See, it's because humans make mistakes.
Right.
So when you play, it's not supposed to be perfect.
Right.
But when you hear music that's perfect and it's just, it's, you know, it's a machine, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know, you know Charles Wright, the Watch 103rd Street Rhythm Band leader. He got a saying, I think he said, music that's made by human beings and not machines or something to that effect, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is just a difference. You know, there's a different feeling. You know, like guys today, a lot of, you know, they go out and they do tracks. Wait a minute, you mean if that guy? I mean, the way I look at it, I want a band. So I say, okay, hey, Doctor, I need 3 guys. Now I can only afford to pay you guys some chicken money. You say, okay, I can do it, or you can't. You know, I'll do it or I won't do it. You know. But at least I'm getting a real band, and I'm getting some, you know, human beings that'll do it, you know. But a lot of guys, one guy was saying he was doing something for President Trump, some, you know, benefit for somebody wanted to raise some money for President Trump.
Yeah.
And he was saying that the lady who was talking to me said something along the line that he was getting about $2,500 using it may have been more than that for a track. I said, yeah, well, and that's really just, it's just something you think about. Yeah, he comes in and with that $2,500, if you had a 3-piece band, he probably could have, came in and put on an excellent show. But
right.
That's where we are today. So what am I?
Right.
What can I do about it? Nothing. It was not my gig. Yeah.
Right. I mean, for the last, let me see, the last 4 or 5 years, anyway, my agent asked me one time to do a show, a solo, and asked me would I be interested in doing it. I said, yeah, I don't mind doing it, because years ago when I first started out, I would play a house party, just my guitar. And so I started doing that, and shoot, I can't hardly get away from it. I've been doing a lot of solo stuff, at Kingston Mines and Blues on Halsted and House of Blues, They want me to do a lot of solo stuff, so I don't mind it, But I can work with 3 pieces, work by myself, whatever, It all depends on what the situation is and what it's called for, Yeah.
Well, all right, Root Doctor, I want to not wear you out on this session.
Okay, so it's good being with you.
Yeah,
always enjoy a conversation with you, and be looking forward to coming back again.
Right, I learn something every time I talk to you.
That's good.
I mean, really, it's always, that's the whole thing about learning, man. I remember when you start talking about theory, Miles Davis in his autobiography, it's written by Troop, he was saying that the one thing that bothered him about the brothers, is that he said, go to Juilliard, learn the theory, basically is what he was saying,
Right.
He said, that don't mean you got to play that way, but at least if you want to do something differently, you can do it. He said the guys, they didn't want to do it, man. But he did do it, But he said, it was disheartening because he was trying to get them to learn how much more richer that they can be, by just learning all of these different theories about music,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Exactly.
I want to thank you very much for being here on this program. The great Root Doctor, formerly known as Roy Hightower, from down in Mobile, Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the great ones. He's still around. He played with some of the great ones, and some of the great ones played with him, and he's still doing it, folks.
Yeah. Yep. Still out here, and it's great being with you, and thanks for having me.
All right, thank you, and you take good care of yourself.
All right, you too.
All right, talk to you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye now. Thanks for joining our podcast here on Classic Blues and R&B. Like our Facebook page at Classic Blues and R&B. Follow us on Twitter at WVON Henry and at Henry_Cheatham. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Henry CB.